Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. We are here with Lindsay Berg, and she is the owner and head trainer at Loke Dogs in Grand Haven, Michigan, and she is going to be teaching us all about puppy training today.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Berg. I'm the owner and head trainer of Loke Dogs Dog Training in Grand Haven. I've been working with dogs on a volunteer basis for about 20 years now and training professionally for 8. So today we're going to talk about puppy training. It's a topic I'm super passionate about because I truly feel that so many dog training issues can be prevented if we're proactive with our puppy training. It's all about us really preventing those behaviors that we don't want while reinforcing things that we do want. And by the way, this is Pipsqueak. So anyway, back to puppy training is, preventing all the behaviors we don't want. I do a ton of aggression, reactivity, separation anxiety, and these are all behaviors that I think if we get ahead of early on in the puppy stage, we can prevent these issues long term. So I also focus on a lot of like chew toy training, crate training, things where I call them life-saving behaviors. You might not think that chewing is a behavior that could risk a dog's life, but you chew up a couch, you end up at the shelter, and then it's a coin flip on whether or not the dog makes it out. So these are things that I take very seriously from the get-go, and they're fun. It's a great way to just bond with your puppy and help them develop healthy habits that they'll carry on through their whole life. Before we get into puppy training, I want to talk about a couple misconceptions with puppies. The first is that they're naughty. There is no such thing as a naughty dog. Every dog, every human is an opportunist. We are going to take advantage of the opportunities that we're given, and that's true for puppies. Puppies are just taking advantage of the situations that we are putting them in. So if I had to boil puppy training down into one sentence, it is that we need to prevent all the behaviors that we don't want while reinforcing the behaviors that we do want. And this could look like keeping your puppy on leash in the house, crating them, getting a puppy-proof playpen where they can spend time when they're outside of the crate, but you can't fully supervise them. Water rolls down a hill, they will find things to chew on, they will find quiet corners of a guest room to have an accident, and if we can just prevent those behaviors, we can then reinforce all the things that we do want them doing. The next common misconception I would say is that crate training is mean. It is the nicest thing you can do for your dog. Separation anxiety is, I don't want to say mean, it's painful. It is sad. And so puppies, a lot of people will call me and be like, my puppy has separation anxiety. I'm like, your puppy just hasn't built independence yet. And so this is the easiest stage for us to kindly, gently coach them through that and help them truly see their crate as the safe space that we need it to be for their whole lives. Similarly, your puppy does not need to graduate from the crate. Everyone is so excited calling me like, hey, guess what? My puppy doesn't need to be crated anymore. They're not chewing things, they're not having accidents, but there's still that risk of them developing patterns of barking out the window, like unhealthy jobs that they're essentially giving themselves because we're not giving them that structured relaxation time, especially when we're not able to support them and set boundaries. The crate does that for us. So third common misconception is that puppies can't learn, that we can wait to do training and I think it's more about what we're training, because I find so many crucial life-saving behaviors are happening in those first 4 months, where maybe your puppy isn't ready to learn all the verbal cues. Their brains just aren't fully developed until 4 months for retaining verbal cues and things like that, but they are learning what works. They are learning about leash pressure. They are learning about their environment. And that brings me to my fourth common misconception is socialization, that a lot of people have different ideas about what socialization is. And to me, it is about just learning to be comfortable and neutral in your surroundings. You don't have to interact with every person and dog that you see. In fact, it's probably better that they don't. I want to create opportunities for my puppy to play with other healthy puppies, but I don't need to, like, if I take him for a walk downtown, he is not gonna say hi to any other dogs on leash, because that's where you meet those dogs where they're like, oh, they're friendly, and like they're pulling up to every dog. That's inappropriate if you ask me. I feel like socialization is learning. I can walk by, feel okay, and none of my business. I don't need to worry about that. So socialization is super key. I think it's the most important thing about preventing aggression and fear and a lot of other behaviors that become a lot harder later in life. But it's as simple as yes work and helping the dog learn, like, I can see something, check back in with you, and it's no big deal. The key is really just keeping it simple and fun for the puppy, and that's why our first topic is going to be yes training. All right, so I'm going to give you an explanation of what I call yes work. This is the one and only word you need to teach your dog right off the bat. And it is essentially that yes equals food. So the way we build this up, we just charge up that sound by going yes, treat, yes, treat. My goal is that the treat enters the dog's mouth within 1 second of me saying it at the beginning, and then we can start building on that. But this is also the same way I teach a new dog their name. I could go pipsqueak, pipsqueak. We're just essentially teaching the dog that those sounds, their name and the word yes, are the best sounds in the world. And when you hear them, the best place to be is within 2 feet of whomever said it. So the first most important thing is that the yes sound is always going to equal food. Obviously, I'm not going to pay him every time I say pipsqueak, but that's at least how I initially get him learning his name. Oh, there he goes. Pips, yes. But now I've built this up so much that I can use this as recall. Because for a puppy, if he's sniffing or eating some grass or getting into who knows what, and I start saying come, he's gonna learn that that's optional because I can't enforce it. But yes just means I have food here for you. Pips, yes. And now it's his choice if he wants to come get it. This dog will 99% of the time come and get it because he's very food motivated. But you can do this with like the first handful of kibble off of for meals. Yes, kibble, where you're just charging up that sound, and then we're just waiting for him to get distracted or like, yeah, he's sniffing some grass now. I can get him back this way. Pips, yes. Beautiful. So it's like a positive interrupter. So most trainers were going to use the sound yes, or at least earlier in my career, I was really only using it as what I call a marker, where the moment the dog gets the behavior right, like if it's a sit, it's the moment that booty hits the ground. Pips, yes. I'm going to mark yes and offer them food for that. That's how the dog makes the connection of that's the behavior you like. That's what I'm going to keep offering. Now, yes work, as I'm explaining it, takes it a step further where I'm not just marking, I'm waiting for the dog to get distracted. So he is now off in my neighbor's yard where I'm trying to teach him that boundary. Pips, yes. So I'm using that as just a way to call him back. And then this time I'll have my foot on the leash to prevent him from crossing that boundary again. So a couple key points of yes work. The first is that yes always equals food. If I like a behavior but I'm not gonna pay for it or pay the dog food, I'm gonna say, good, that's nice, or whatever comes out of your mouth, that's praise. So yes there is food waiting for you. The second is timing. At the beginning, we might wanna be early if the dog is getting distracted or starting to bark at something, if we're gonna say, and we say it one time. But the longer the dog is distracted by the thing, it's gonna be harder for them to come off of it. So like with Pipsqueak, who he sees another dog and he's like, bop, 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 bop. I usually try to capture the second he sees the dog before he's even thought to bark, I'll start yesing him so that he comes back to me and I can de-escalate that excitement that's causing him to yip at other dogs. Third, I wanna yes the dog off of distractions they might have mixed feelings about, as well as things they like. So one thing I will often do is yes off their food bowl, where I'll have the food bowl in the middle of a training area. I'll do leash work off of the food bowl. I'll do yes work off of the food bowl to show the dog, you don't just get to pull me to that. You go through me to get that. But that's something the dog already has a good association with. And then I can also yes them off of things that they might be fearful of or not so sure about. Because if we're only yesing them off of things they're unsure about, we can almost kind of poison that sound of like, ooh, there's a dog, isn't there? And I don't want to do that. So with puppies, I think the key is really building good associations. That's yes work. The other key point is helping them learn to do less and helping them learn to be comfortable on their own. So that's why we're also going to talk about crate training. All right, so we're gonna start with crate training. I think this is one of the most important skills for every puppy to learn, not only for preventing accidents, chewing mistakes, but also most importantly for your dog to develop independence. Your dog needs to learn that it's okay to be separate from you and that they can see the crate as their safe, relaxing space. So to do that, initially you can start with feeding your puppy their meals in the crate. You can just simply have the door open, put the food in, the puppy walks in, eats their food. You can also give your puppy chew bones. I define a chew bone as anything that's neither consumable nor destructible. They can't tear it apart. So nylabone, Kong, natural horns, antlers, things like that, that the puppy can safely have in the crate to give them something to do. Especially while your puppy is teething, they're going to be looking for things to chew on, and so why not make the crate not just where they spend alone time, but it's their bone crushing den. We can make this fun. And have your puppy sleep in the crate, not just at night, but also after you get home from a walk, after you get home from doing something. They are gonna pass out. And instead of letting them be on the couch, just make it the crate. They could have a bed or a blanket in there, as long as they're not gonna chew it up. If they're shredding things in the crate, then they can just be on the pan, that's fine. But get your puppy used to napping in the crate, especially while you're home. It's not just for when you're gone. It's a great skill for them to be comfortable in there while you're home as well. So those are some tips to get you started. So one key point as you start closing the door with your puppy in the crate, I find is that they have to be calm coming out. So at a minimum, I'm not gonna open the door until there's 3 seconds of silence. And I want the front paws also firmly planted on the ground so they're not pushing the door open or like scratching at it. I want them to learn calm is what gets you out. It's similar to sleep training a baby. If they're screaming and crying and we go open the door, they learn that works. So we want to wait for the lull. If your puppy's building, or especially if they need to go potty, wait for that minimum 3 seconds of silence. But if you can, just wait for them to calm down or lay down or act more calm, and that's when you would open the door. So I'll give you an example here of as I go, even as I reach for the door, you'll see Pip starts getting a little more excited, and I'm just going kind of slowly here. I anticipate as I open the door, I'm gonna do a couple little fake outs on him because I've been doing this a long time, he knows that means I've got to sit to come out, or even there he put his paws up. That doesn't allow the door to open faster. A lot of dogs are like, oh, let me help you, I'll just shove the door open. And I want him to learn, no, what gets you out is sitting and being calm. Like, that's not it. Free, good boy. There we go. So just waiting that extra second or two, doing a few double takes with the door really makes the puppy think about what's getting them out and not just barking at you or pushing the door open. For puppies that need a little more convincing that the crate is a safe space, I have a crate relaxation routine that I learned from Samantha Johnson at Pack Life LA. And this is how we condition puppies to see this as a do less, safe space where relaxation is what gets you out faster. So to get started, especially for dogs that have a bad association with the crate, we're gonna reintroduce it with movement. So I'll start just walking around a couple times in each direction, like to do things in threes. Where I want the dog to soften. If they are pulling away from the crate as soon as you walk in the room, you might have to spend more time here where you're reintroducing it, he's trying to go in, I'll close that. Where we're just showing the dog this is not a big deal. I'm here with you, we're doing leash work, and we're just being near the crate. Once the dog is comfortable with that, I have a 2-door, so I'm gonna use both doors, but if you have a 1-door, you can just start there as well. And the next stage would be what I call in and outs, where we're going in and out, no big deal. So you can still, if you want to, you can still be going round and round as you do this, but it's essentially just in one door, out the other. And this is where the 2-door can be nice because the dog can see through, especially if they're not feeling comfortable with it. You can go back in. And the goal here, I'm gonna stay in this stage until the puppy is going in and out voluntarily, meaning I'm not using pressure to get them into the crate. It is okay if you're having to use a little bit of leash pressure here to guide them in. That is okay. We have to help them learn this isn't a big deal. And for a dog that is really struggling, I might just simply hold pressure for it to be the dog's choice. I'm not gonna push their booty in. I'm not going to physically force them in. I'm just gonna look at them like, I got all day. I'm just waiting for you to make the choice. If I'm stuck in that moment of holding pressure for more than say like 10 to 30 seconds, I'll do a little loop. Just, come on buddy, let's show him. Okay, he's gonna do that. Where, say I'm holding pressure, I might just do a little mini circle, build up some momentum, and then get them in that way to show them you can do this. It's not a big deal. And then again, right out. I'm not having them build duration at this stage. It's just going through or going right in and coming out. So I'm gonna close the second door, and now I could do in and outs with the single door. Come on. And crate. So I'll start calling it crate when we get to that stage where they're walking in voluntarily. If I'm holding pressure, I'm not gonna call it crate because I don't wanna put a negative association with that sound of like, I'm scared of this and you're yelling at me, crate. Like, it's like, no, we'll get the behavior to happen. We'll teach him what it's called later. So as we start setting the boundary, I'll walk him in, and as soon as he makes eye contact, free, come on buddy, have him come out. So he's making that connection of eye contact gets me out of here. Connection with you lets me get out of this crate. Pips, free. So as you'll know your dog has made that connection, come on buddy. when the second they go in, they start staring at you. That's when you know you're ready to move on to the second criteria, which would be waiting for them to sit. The third criteria is waiting for them to lay down. So essentially, the more relaxed they get, the sooner they come out. Ideally, you'll have something else to do as your dog gets good at this, like a book or something, because you might be waiting a little bit for them to calm down and relax. Now, one key point here with waiting for the sit and the down is I am not asking for the sit or the down. I'm not telling them to sit or down, because if I do that, that is obedience. And what I'm trying to create is relaxation. If they come up with the idea of sitting or laying down, that's relaxation. If I ask for it, that's obedience. So he's already worked through this quite a few times where he knows laying down gets him out of the crate. Pips, free. And he's too tired. Come here, buddy. He's like, let me stay in here. I need a nap. But this is a very simple way to help your dog really see the crate as their relaxation station, their zen zone, whatever you want to call it, but just a do less space centered around tuning the world out and not having any jobs. I think a lot of the time we give our dogs a ton of freedom, thinking that's what, especially as Americans, what we would want. But the dogs end up interpreting that as responsibility. They start barking out windows, developing patterns that just aren't healthy for them. And the crate is just a beautiful way for them to learn, I have no jobs, but to relax, take a nap. And when I come out, I'm gonna go do something fun with my owner. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned some good training tips for your puppy. I'm excited to be doing more training videos in the future with Voyager. And if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments below, or you can also reach me at my website, www.lokdogs.com.